So guys, while under the Tinubu's administration, the Igbos have been asked to leave Yoruba land. Guess what? The ex-president Obasanjo is extending a welcome invitation to the Igbos that they go nowhere, that Nigeria cannot exist being divided. I want to let you watch for yourself the way ex-president Obasanjo expressed his dissatisfaction with the Igbo must go trend. Take a look at what he said during this session. Take a look.
I don't believe that anybody in this country should be driven away from any part of this country, because this country we own it together. When I was fighting for the war of unity in this country, I used Igbos, Hausa, Yoruba. Even though we were fighting against Igbos, not that you should go, but that you should come. And I used Igbos to fight Igbos to come. So if anybody says to me that then somebody should leave any place, now the one way says somebody should leave, now he go leave. Me, I married from Owerri. So, so what are you going to say? The Peking way Owerri woman born for me, so it no be my own again. So where will you ask him to go? Huh? When I was campaigning, he was there. Small time now they say I no like Igbo. I say, eh? Me?
We gave him a lot of votes.
I say I no like Igbo. So I said, how do I deal with this? And the thing was gaining ground. So I said, okay, we go to Owerri. After the campaign, I said I want to meet leaders of thought, Christian clergy, traditional rulers, dignitaries, private sector. I took my son. And my son speaks Igbo with Owerri dialect. So, but he normally doesn't speak. And when I say, why are you not speaking? Say, so that when they are abusing you, I will hear. So I took him along. After the campaign, we went into a room like this. And I said, look, this rumor, how did it start? And look, I fought the war as humanely as possible. My best friend in the army are Igbos. Chukwuma Nzogu, Mike Vemso. What is all this? The first family that took care of me when I returned in 1959 was Hilary Njoku in your own place. What is all this? Not only do I like Igbo, I love Igbo. Let me wait now. I say, let me show you the evidence. Then B broke into Igbo. So he spoke. I mean, I know get here for the language. So he spoke. One of the traditional rulers, he came to me. He said, Mr. President, please forgive me. Betty, you are a rascal. I said, if you say so. Now, but on a serious note, that's what we called you for. I want to learn from you. There may be things that you want us to do that we are not doing, or you want us to delay or hasten. We can give you all the things now. We have halls, we have parking space, we have locked up, we have
Clinic.
we have clinic, we have
Warehouse.
where women we put their children, crèche you call it. We have warehouse, we have garage, we have it all. We have hotel, both high level and low level. Well, I won't call it low level, I would say hostel. So if there's anything you want to say to me, oh yeah. You see, out there, my experience is that there's goodwill out there. That's number one. Number two, the money to develop Africa is out there. It's there, it's there. The problem is how to get it in. And when we get it in, the problem is how to make it stay in. We will examine, I'm not making promise, but we will examine a number of possibilities, if I can put it that way. What the international community and people out there want is to see that we are sincere, that we can perform, that when we say we are doing this, we are doing it. If Nigeria with number 5 or number 6, all exporting country in the world, I could go out and look for debt relief and I could get it, I believe that you can get anything. But let Nigeria try that today to get debt relief. The world out there, they are not fools. They will just laugh at us. The one we give you before we think we do. But this is something, and I believe if we pursue it the right way, they can get it. They will want to see our bona fide integrity, honesty, and so I take note of that. Thank you very much for that. What I want to say to you is that we want to build a central market. It is something that has been contemplated since the creation of Imo State. And for one reason or the other, it has not been implemented. So this young man then decided to spearhead it. And he was looking for an accomplice. So he came to me. And I've known him in politics. He's a man that if I have had my way when I was leaving government, and I could say, look, yes, a southerner has been there for 8 years. Here is somebody, again, a southerner could be there. I didn't believe that. I thought that, I believed that after 8 years of a southerner, he should go to the north and come again. But if I had had that, he is one man that was qualified.
And I've always asked the question, what has the Igbo man done to deserve being profiled and being typified and being regarded as a dot? So, why then the typification and profiling of the Igbos? I was at the Supreme Court yesterday to defend an Igbo son. Nnamdi Kanu, yes, he founded IPOB, Indigenous People of Biafra, in 2012. His goals is to read the Constitution are clear, to give respect to the Igbos, to put them in a respectable position. Then if you don't want to respect us or give us then let us separate peacefully. That's all. IPOB, we saw them, beret wearing, whistle blowing, marching on the streets. They were not violent. I saw them. I followed their tracks. Then, it took Operation Python by the Nigerian Army between 14th and 17th of September 2017 to descend on his home, ancestral home at Afara Ibeku, Umuahi, at the state. They almost killed him. He escaped by the teeth. He was then enjoying bail, but unprovoked, he was to be killed. He escaped. His first port of call was Israel, and he quickly reported and swore to an affidavit before he went to London. The federal government said he jumped bail. No, sirs, no, ma'am. Nnamdi Kanu did not jump bail. He escaped to save his life. He would have been killed. So the self-determination bid by IPOB, for your information, for those who had always harbored the thought that it is an illegality or an unconstitutionality, it is not true. Self-determination is recognized by Article 20 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 1948. Articles 10, 11, and 12, and 20 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. Articles 1 and 22 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, 1976. Articles 3 and 4 of the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, 2007. So Nnamdi Kanu was brought back. He was abducted in Kenya, blindfolded, tortured, and forcibly brought back on the 27th of June, 2021, after he was kidnapped on the 19th of June. They charged him to court. I went to court. He was charged with 15 counts. I went to the Federal High Court and argued with a preliminary objection that the case had no legs to stand on, that the charges were bad and could not fly legally. The Federal High Court agreed with me and struck out 8 of the 15 counts, remaining 7. I was dissatisfied. I took the battle to the Court of Appeal, Abuja Division, and the Court of Appeal agreed with me and dismissed the remaining 7 counts. Wait for it. Wait for it. The Court of Appeal made a pronouncement. Said Nnamdi Kanu should be released and should never again be detained and should never again be prosecuted on the same charges over which he was kidnapped and forcibly renditioned back to Nigeria. A whole federal government, rather than protect your citizens, your individual citizens, their fundamental rights, which America will do. America will go to any country to go and take one of their citizens. A whole federal government filed a motion on notice to stay execution, which was granted by the same Court of Appeal. The federal government was staying execution of the liberty of its own citizen. So we were at the Supreme Court yesterday to say, this is wrong. set this man free. Nnamdi Kanu is sick. He's not well. In the DSS gulag, they are increasing his potassium level. He has ear pain. And the DSS doctor has diagnosed that he needs an operation. But they will not allow him independent opinion from his own doctor. This has been going on. And because of that, in order for him not to die, we have told the Supreme Court to do the needful. The case has been adjourned to the 11th cycle. The Igbo man is not a dot in the cycle. Indeed, he is the link that binds the other 373 ethnic groups in Nigeria, going by the 374 given by Professor Onigu Otite. He is the link. He's the erudite, he's the gum. So he's not a dot in a cycle. He's actually the binding force in this country. Because historical revisionists have tried to always call that coup an Igbo coup. It is a lie from the pit of hell. And as a student of history, I dare not say I'm an historian, though I've written up to 5 books on history, because there are historical professors of history. The truth is that of the people who played out the military coup, the Igbos were not the only one. Led by Major Kaduna Uzogu Chukwuma from Okpanam near Asaba in Delta State. The people mistake the fact that the following were also leaders of the coup to say it was an Igbo coup. Who were the others? The others were Major Emmanuel Ifejuna, Major Chris Anuforo, Major Timothy Onwatuegu, Major Humphrey Chukwuka, Major Don Okafo, Captain Ben Bullier, Captain Emmanuel Mubusi, and Captain Ogbu Oji. Because of that, they always say it was the Igbos that led that coup. No, I want to fault this historical profanity. The following were the people who led the coup, apart from the 7 I've just mentioned. Major Adewale Ademoyegun, Yoruba. He wrote the book. He wrote the book, Why We Struck. I've read that book. Captain G. Adeleke, Yoruba. He is the author of the book, The Reluctant Rebel. Lieutenant R. Egbiko, he was of Isan origin. That's the present day Edo State. There was Lieutenant Tijani Kassina, Hausa Fulani. There was Lieutenant O. Olafemiyo, Yoruba. Captain Gibson Jalo from Bali in the present Taraba State. Captain Swanton Robert from the Middle Belt. Lieutenant Hope Harris Egaga, Urobo, extraction. Lieutenant Dag Waribori, Ijo, Delta State. Second Lieutenant Saleh Dambo, Hausa. And Second Lieutenant John Atom Bera, who was later a military administrator in this country, is of TV extraction, Benue State. So I ask, what has the Igbo man done to say he was the only one They were the only one who played it. So from today onwards, tell them that is an historical piece of narrative. It is not true. When, after the counter coup and Agui Ronsi, the only Igbo man who had been president of this country, military head of state, between January 1966 and July 1966, that's the only one. The nearest was Dr. Alex Ekweme, who was vice president to Alhaji Aliyu Shehu Usman Shagari. Go on, there was this program what some people have called, some historians have labeled a genocidal attack on the Igbos. And the Igbos cried to Jukunyemegbe, give us guns. Let us fight and defend ourselves. We could have had probably a country without a war if wise counsel had prevailed. But Lieutenant Colonel Yakubu Gowon, the handsome 12 man who was a bachelor before he took over the headship of this country and only married Victoria after he became head of state, they disagreed and said they were going to carry out a police action from the Nsukka axis. That was a piece of historical mistake. That mistake was to turn into a 3-year bloody civil war that took the lives, some people say, of over 3 million Biafrans. And that was after the failure of the Aburi Accord, when General Ankara had hosted Gowon and Ojukwu in Ghana to find a way as to how to avoid war. By January 15, 1970, the Biafrans decided to surrender to the Nigerian side through General Philip Effiong, who surrendered to General Olusegun Obasanjo, the man who had taken over control of the 3rd Marine Commando from Adekunle, Benjamin Adekunle. Then the 3 R's were promulgated. 3 R's: reconstruction, rehabilitation, and reconciliation. I've always asked the question, because driving here, if you drive to Enugu State from Onitsha, passing through Oba, Orevite, Okija, Ihiala, Uli, Mbudi, Awomama, Owerri, you will see more roadblocks that you can find in the northern part of Nigeria, where Boko Haram and armed banditry reign supreme. So I find these people more in a state of mental and physical siege. So again, I ask the question, what has the Igbo man done? Have they reconciled? One of the 3 R's? Have they been rehabilitated? One of the 3 R's? Have they been reconstructed? One of the 3 R's? I do not know. I do not know whether you know. I have decided to say that whenever we talk about the indivisibility of Nigeria, we must be careful not to overstretch it and overstretch it. The former USSR once thought so. Today, they have broken up into 15 independent states. Some of them are Ukraine, currently at war with Russia, Russia itself, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, the one we call the three Baltic states, Estonia, Armenia, Kingston, Moldova, Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, and Georgia. They broke up. Yugoslavia was once one. It broke up into 6 states. India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh used to be one country. Today they are separate. Ask Sudan, which some few years ago broke into Southern Sudan and Sudan. At this moment, as we are talking, we are battling to bring back our people trapped in that Sudan, in a fratricidal war between the same people of the same country. And our own man, the owner of Air Peace, has decided to use his aircraft, and is doing that precisely, Onyema, to airlift Nigerians trapped in that country. Alan Onyema, God bless you. I didn't hear people say, we will not go with Air Peace. The owner is an Igbo man. Chimanda Ngozi Adichie, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, the first female and black Director General of the World Trade Organization, WTO, and former Managing Director, World Bank Operations. They are doing Nigerians proud and Nigeria proud. I haven't heard anybody say, we don't want to take the glory because they are Igbos. JJ Okocha, Dan Amokachi, Kanu Nwankwo, Michael Obi Uche Okechukwu Vincent Enyema, Christian Chukwu Emmanuel Okala, Onyekachi Abam, Francis Uzoho, and Harry Mosu, and many others. They burnt the local and international fields, doing Nigeria and Nigerians proud. I didn't hear anybody say, we didn't want the glory because they are Igbos. Chioma Ajua, in 1996, took the Olympic gold medal at the Atlanta Olympics. Emmanuel Jr., the man who was also involved in the 1966 military purge, was the first black African to win a gold medal in an international competition, the 1954 Vancouver Olympics. Michael Okpala, alias Power Mike. Richard Ihetu, alias Dick Tiger, former world boxing weight champion. Olaudo Equiano, the man who wrote many treatises that led to the abolition of the 500-year-old slave trade. Chinua Achebe, the man whose novel Things Fall Apart has been transcribed into more than 500 languages and is now rated as one of the 12 novels considered to be the greatest book ever written by Encyclopedia Britannica. They were all of Igbo extraction. I didn't hear anyone say we should not bask in the glory because they are Igbos. Philip Emeagwole is from Onitsha, computer scientist whose seminar was brought about internet revolution and described by CNN as the father of internet. Professor Bab Naji, who pioneered robotic engineering. Professor Chike Obi, world acclaimed mathematician. Professor Gabriel Oyibo, the man who blazed aircraft design and aerodynamics and aeroelasticity. Professor Benoit Boueze, the first African to have LLD, Doctor of Laws, by thesis. Professor Ben Enwonu, the great sculptor. Chief Sir Louis Odumebu Ojukwu, the father of Ikemba, reputed to be the first Nigerian and West African billionaire. They were Igbos. I didn't hear anyone speak about Igbophobia or Igboism. Do you know that the present president of Liberia, Edward James Roye, is said to be an Igbo man? Do you know that the present president of Gabon, Ali Bongo Ondiba, is said to be of Igbo descent, and that he was taken away during the Civil War? The Court of Appeal made a pronouncement, said Nnamdi Kanu should be released and should never again be detained and should never again be prosecuted on the same charges over which he was kidnapped and forcibly renditioned back to Nigeria. A whole federal government, rather than protect your citizens, your individual citizens, their fundamental rights, which America will do. America will go to any country to go and take one of their citizens. A whole federal government filed a motion on notice to stay execution, which was granted by the same Court of Appeal. The federal government was staying execution of the liberty of its own citizens. On a very topical issue, building bridges for a new Nigeria. The topic suggests, or rather admits of two things: that Nigeria has failed or is a failing nation, and that the present contraption we have is old, decrepit, and not working. So we want to make it new. That is the meaning. And Nzuko Umuna has become a great national platform to achieving this. I want to salute this organization. I'm particularly enthused with your goals. Management, creating effective management for Igbo professionals both at home and abroad, and promoting cooperation, peace, and good neighborliness between Igbos and other ethnic groups in Nigeria through your handshake programs. Handshake across the Niger, handshake across Nigeria. You have done a lot to bring about this your dream. The Igbo man is a special man. He is gregarious. He is effective. He is innovative. He is daring. In fact, it is said, if you go to any community, anywhere, not just in Nigeria, but the world, and you do not see an Igbo man, you should begin to run away. That place is not inhabitable. It's of not deterred him from having a common goal. In 1990, I went on a round country trip sponsored by the United States Formation Service, USIST. People like Senator Hirat, Abdurazak Gwadabe, who were on the trip together. Then they took us to Yakima, the very place Native Americans. So when we went there, They told me that there can't be an Igbo man here. I told them there must be an Igbo man here, because those are the real Native Americans. It's like a village, a settlement. So they use it as a kind of historical, totem for visitors. New York State. Then we went to a restaurant. I told them, we must see an Igbo man here before we leave this place tomorrow. On the table were three men. They were black. And I told them, watch those men. They said, oh yeah, they are black Americans. I said, I don't think so. You watch them. I believe they are Nigerians. Not only Nigerians, I believe they are Igbos. We were still arguing when one of them stood up and said, nah, ebeki neje. So I said, you see what I'm talking about? So the Igbo man believes more in the indissolubility and indivisibility of this country than any other Nigerian. That is why he finds home everywhere he goes to. Go to the Sabon Gari areas of the entire northern part of Nigeria. I have a friend who speaks Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, Efik, Ibibio, Urobo, English, about 6 to 7 languages. Because that is a melting point for them all. So I see this topic, therefore, as a bridge which is a source, or which is the process of creating, building, which is the process of creating or developing something. The bridge is something that makes it to connect to others, and bridge building, which are activities intended to make relations between two groups or more groups friendlier. This country, we must be careful in talking about its indissolubility and indivisibility. Its coming together itself was almost like an historical mistake. It was on the 8th of January, 1897, when one young lady called Miss Flora Louisa Shaw gave the name Nigeria to her. A British journalist, Niger area, the area around that River Niger. Don't forget that Western powers tried to write history for us by telling us that Mungo Park discovered the River Niger at New Busa, Kainji. Whereas when he came there, he met the natives drinking the water and taking their bath there. Yet he discovered it. That young lady wrote that article on the 8th of January 1897. And she was later to marry the man called Lord Lugard, Lord Frederick Lugard, the man who amalgamated Lagos colony, the southern and northern protectorates, to found what you call Nigeria today on the 1st of January 1914. Since then, Nigeria has been yearning for nationhood. How many of us know that Nigeria was first owned and ruled by a company called Royal Niger Company between 1886 and 1890? And that this company now sold Nigeria to the British government for £865,000. That's about 735 naira was what your account was sold at the Royal Niger Company to the British government. Before then, Mr. Chairman, sir, I didn't forget Professor Nebo, the incoming president, very cerebral professor we have. Before then, we had city-states, people who were already independent, We had the Oyo Empire, the Karne Bonu Empire. We had the Ife civilization. We had the Benin Empire. Remember the role of the great Oba Oboramin Ogbaise, who beat the British with bare knuckles in 1897, which led to the British Benin punitive expedition. We had great figures: Nana of Ichekiri, King Jaja of Opobo, Moremi, the Hausa city-states, the Igbo city-states, before Lord Lugard amalgamated us. But without looking into our peculiar nuances. So when Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe in 1952 told Tafawa Ahmadu Bello, the Sedona of Sokoto, in trying to see how we can cement Nigeria together, I will have him written a book about Nigeria not being one because we don't have a single country like you have the British and the Welsh and the Irish in this path to Nigeria freedom. Zik told Ahmadu Bello, let us forget our differences. Ahmadu Bello gave a very poignant and true answer. He said, no, Zik, we cannot forget our differences. You are Igbo, you are a Christian, and you are an Easterner. I am Fulani, I am a Muslim, and I am a Northerner. We should recognize our differences and then see how we can understand ourselves. That was a beautiful reply. But all of them were worried about the fact that Nigeria was not one country, which I still dare say till today remains the situation. When the first military coup took place in this country, I'm sorry, before I give solutions, I normally like to give background, because it is the problem we have, and Peter the Rock will agree with me. Most of the problems we have is that they had even removed history from our syllabus. So we do not know where we are coming from. The Oyibo man made the car, the vehicle, to have a large windscreen in front so that you can see into the future. But he also makes a very little mirror by the side of the window so that you can peer into the past behind to know what is going on. If you don't have a past, you can't have a present. If you don't have a present, you can never dream of a future. So that is why when I speak, many a time, I peer a little into the past so as to see how and why we missed it. On the 15th of January, 1966, a military coup was played out in Nigeria, and it was led by Major Kaduna Chukwuma Nzobo.
So
many
I don't know what your take is, considering the way the federal government has been handling security
have since
in this
turned
country.
around.
So let's go back to the time
story.
of Buhari. Even before Buhari came into power,
And I've always
Buhari
had the
didn't
question,
send any attack on Boko Haram.
what
It's attack
has
on
the
the
Igbo
north.
man
That emboldened this terrorist organization, and they went ahead to, like, you know, cause all the menace they caused. And even till today, the northern leaders are not willing, you know, to send strong signal to this bad group. They are not willing to get them stopped. They believe they are protecting the ideology of the north, and that is why we are still battling with them. But look at what is happening in the southeast. When Buhari was in power, any little thing, Buhari would send the military to the southeast. Any little thing, Buhari would send the military to the southeast. This is a section of the country that lost so much during the Civil War. that many millions of its citizens or its people, the Igbos, you know, their lives were taken. They lost close to 5 million people during the Civil War. And you know what that means for a section of people. You know, looking at the date, you know what that means. For you to lose that kind of number of persons in those days is huge. If that number were to be existing by now, you can imagine the level of multiplication that would have come from them. But the federal government ended the lives of 5 million people and still counting. Look at under the Buhari's administration, the Southeast was ruined. I mean, ruined in terms of the military going there in the name of they are looking for known gunmen, in the name of they are looking for Nnamdi Kanu supporters, in the name of they are looking for ESN, in the name of they are looking for, and guess what? Innocent young Igbos were caught up in all this. It got to a point where even those of them in government were saying that there were lots of unclaimed bodies in FMC, sorry. There were a lot of unclaimed bodies. That's to tell you what the Igbos have gone through at the hands of the federal government. Now, Tinubu has come in. We keep hearing them giving amnesty to Boko Haram. They keep, you know, a kind of giving them training, de-radicalizing them, making them to go back to their communities, giving them money to start up one thing or the other, and all that. But nobody talks about the Southeast, an abandoned region. An abandoned region. These are some of the things that gave rise to the agitation in the Southeast. The Southeast see themselves as strangers because they are not being carried along. They see themselves as foreigners in their own land. They are not being carried along. And that is why people are clamoring for Biafra. That's why people are saying, give us Biafra. Okay, see how Nnamdi Kanu was brought back to Nigeria. And the court has said, let him go. He has got no case to answer. Let him go. But still, the federal government keep holding him back. Why? Why? While they keep releasing those of them who are real terrorists, who are really the ones terrorizing Nigeria. They are being given amnesty. They are being given, they say they are de-radicalizing them. They are giving them money to start up. But still, at the end of the day, they will go back to the bushes to join the bad guys. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell. Thank you.